Hello YouTubers and welcome to Rudgy aka the Doctor if you've not visited before, and to those of you who are back for another dose, happy days, welcome. So today what am I doing? Well, I haven't had, as you know, those of you who follow the channel, I came back to the UK to earn a living so that I can go back out to live in Greece the rest of the year. And it hasn't really worked out very well. I haven't had much work, so looks like we're going to have to sell Sovereign Bay the boat and a few other things to get myself out of debt. But in the meantime, I'm doing a bit of a varnish job. Those of you who follow the channel will have seen this before, so I'm just going to run quickly through what we've done so far. So as you can see, that's the bulkhead that I've varnished, which was sanded down like the almost like the sides there, with a bit lockers in. Now this has had two wet wash coats, which is 50-50 thinned, and then it had about two 25% thinned coats, and I've put two completely straight out the tin coats of FFA's clear varnish on. And those of you who think that looks lovely will be horrified to see, yeah, I'm sanding it down. Now the reason for that is that we're going to put this rubbed effect on. If I can pick the tin up, which is there. And me, Jenny and Andy have found that you know, the only way to get that to work properly is to put a good couple of coats of gloss on first. And then the rubbed effect seems to go on quite nicely. I think it's probably to do with a chemical reaction, although I don't really know. But that's what I'm assuming. So yeah, so I'm going to flat the rest of this down now, and then we'll put some of the rubbed effect on. Today I'm going to be using, I've discovered these rollers, which are specifically for varnishing. They're not quite like a foam roller. They've got like a bit of furry effect to them. And I actually did the gloss work with one of them. It come out really well. I mean, to me, from an ex motor vehicle refinisher, it looked like a bad paint job. Anyway, we'll crack on with that and see how it goes. There you go. I don't know whether the camera's picking that up, but this has all been flatted down with 320 grade wet and dry paper. I've done it dry. Then I've wiped it over with a rag with the FFA's thinners on it to get the dust off. And then I've tack clothed it just to make absolutely sure. And now, if you look in that corner, I'm now rolling on the rubbed effect, and we'll see how that goes. So there we go, that's the rubbed effect. That's the first coat. Probably have to do another two maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, we'll now go over to the office and I'll show you what I've been doing in there. But that, when we come back in a day or so, should be a satin finish. Alright, here we are in the headquarters of all things cool. So down here we've got the one of the tabletops. If I move the light around, I don't know whether it's going to pick up just how shiny that is, but yeah, it's like looking at a piece of well, it looks like it's been rained on and it's wet, which is just how you want it. They need probably one more coat, two more coats. Now then, this is the rubbed effect. That's had two wet coats, two gloss coats, and now it's had two coats of rubbed effect. So that's what it comes out like. It's like a satiny, natural sort of finish, really. Quite forgiving, quite difficult to get on. Me and Jenny were just discussing that actually. It's quite a difficult thing to put on. So when I've done those, the steps will be the next thing to get up. So yeah, I've just got to put one more maybe 2 more coats on the tabletops and they're done. So that's that. Could do with a bit more work really. Things haven't quite worked out the way I thought they would, but thanks to A&J Thomas Boat Builders, who do all this sort of stuff, I have managed to pay the bills while I've been in the UK. So it's thanks to Andy and Jenny that that's happened. So yeah, we'll go and have a look at the rub defect in a minute, and well, it'll be a minute for you, but of course it'll be maybe a day's time when it's gone off, and I'll show you what that looks like with just one coat. Right, so there you go, there's the rub defect. It's difficult to film it really, the finish it gives, but yeah, as you can see, it's a nice satiny finish, sort of a natural sort of look I'd call it. I'm just about to flat this whole panel down now, 320 I'm using, and then I'll give it one more coat, and I think that probably will be it for there. That's had plenty of stuff put on it, that should be okay now. And then we've got to move on to this area here where the customers prepped it. We were worried about going through the laminate because it's pretty thin. As you can see, you can almost see the glue lines. Those of you who know what you're on about will see, you can almost see the glue lines between the laminate where it's almost gone through. So we went, whoa, stop, when he was prepping this. So he's just knocked the top off that for me. The cushions come up to about there anyway, so it's only the top that you're going to see, and the framing. And that's going to be in rub defect as well. So I'd best crack on. So there we go, guys, that's another coat of rub defect. So that's 2 of those it's had. As you can see, it's starting to go off in places. There's a little bit there, a little bit there. Looks a bit sort of like a bad spray job at the minute, a bit orange peely, but my advice would be not to faff around with it too much, because when it's at this stage, especially, see where it's drying there, when it starts to tack off, you just pull off what you've put on and make matters worse. If you actually leave it, it looks terrible now. When you leave it and come back to it, it'll look fantastic. So there you go. I'm going down the side of it now. As you can see, it looks a bit bobbly, but that, trust me, will flow out. I've learned that much about this stuff using it. But it is quite difficult to use. It's not like the gloss at all. So there we go. The next one you'll see is probably me doing the sides. So I best crack on. Right, so Phil's boat's now done. So before I show you how that's come out, I thought I'd go over what's involved on another boat that I'm doing. So let's have a look at the inside of this first before we go back to Phil's, and I'll show you the sides that I did. As you can see, I'm in the middle of doing this one. The guy said he wanted everything varnished. Everything that was varnished, sorry, he wanted redoing in rub defect. So what people don't realise, as I've said before in this video, everything has to be flatted back down as far as you can go with it, really. You've got to be really careful with plywood, the bulkheads and stuff like that. If you flat too hard, you'll go through the face of it and onto the glue where the laminates are glued, and that's not a good look, as we explained in the earlier videos. So yeah, I've started at the forepeak, and another good point, you can paint yourself into a corner if you're not careful. I'll show you in a minute just how small this boat is, but yeah, you have to start at the forepeak, work your way back, sanding it. I'll get to the back, and then with the help of the hoover it all out. Then I wipe it all down with a rag covered in white spirit, and then I clean all the surfaces again and de-dust them, and then you can start painting them up. Now, so far, All the glossy surfaces that you can see have had been rubbed down 3 times. They've had 2 wash coats and one 25% thinned. Andy's new cupboard, which I'll show you in a minute, was all fresh wood, so that's had 3 wash coats now. I'm about to try it with a 25% and see how that works. Handrails, things like that, all the same. So quite a bit of work involved, and it takes about 4 hours to do this boat from front to back. So it gives you an idea of the work that's involved. So let's have a look inside. Right, so there's your door. Let me give you an idea. I've just there you go. As you can see, I'm pretty crouched down here. Right, so all the surfaces like this, as you can see, that needs perhaps another wash coat. I think it's still a bit matte. That's how I work with it. This is come up quite shiny, so depending on how it rubs down depends on whether I give it 25% or a full gloss. These are probably ready for full gloss, same as that bulkhead. Well, that will probably just take a rubbed effect, but I'm going to give it another gloss. Andy's cupboard. Now, I don't know whether you can see that. That's one of the old cupboards. Nothing fits very well. And they wanted one put this side, so Andy made this up. As you can see, Andy does a fantastic job of his stuff. Everything fits lovely, but it's going to need another couple of wash coats. I think it's soaking the varnish I'm putting on like I don't know what. So yeah, you start at the front up here and work your way back. So this is another one that's going to be rubbed effect, the whole boat. I mean, it seems a bit of a shame really. That bulkhead's come up very nicely. There is a stain there where the wood has been bleached by the sun and there's been a clock or something on there. You can hardly see it now. I spent quite a lot of time trying to flat that out. But again, like I say, you've got to be really careful because the veneer that they put on top is very thin. You wouldn't want to machine sand that. I know people do that, but it's not something that I would do. So yeah, I best crack on and get after it. Next time you see me, we'll be back on the boat that we were doing originally and I'll show you how that's come out. Well, we're not on the boat that I did originally. Had a bit of a catastrophe. As you can see, or not, maybe not, it depends how it's coming out. Oh yeah, there you go, that's a good view of it. Everything is now in rubbed effect. This boat was pretty much ready to sign off. I was very happy with it, and on my own worst critic, it needed one more coat of rubbed effect perhaps, and that would have been it. I've done up in here as well. For Peak, he wanted the floors done, although it looks like an angry beaver's had a scratch at that. So yeah, everything was done, and then I get a text this morning. He hates the finish and wants me to gloss it. So now we're going to see how that goes. I've spoke to Kefalonia and they say that you can gloss over this rubbed effect. We'll see. We'll see. They've told me to give it a good key with some light paper, 230, which is what I was using anyway, and then gloss it up and it should be fine. We'll see. I haven't got much time left. I go back to Kefalonia in about a week, so if this goes wrong, it's going to have to be left. Nothing I can do about that. So we will get back to Phil's boat. I spoke to Phil. He's extremely happy with what I've done. It's nice to see a happy customer, and he says he'll be around this week, so we'll probably go back and video that one next. So yeah, better get after it, as they say. Right, well, before I take you back to look at Phil's boat, if Phil's about, that is, we're going to see if he's about first. I thought I'd show you how his boat's come out. After we did the rubbed effect, Harry decided he didn't like it, as I've said, so we had to re-gloss it. So I thought that might be useful for a few of you that are worried about glossing over rubbed effect. It wasn't the easiest thing I've done, to be honest. If it makes any sense, flattening it down, it rubs up quite badly, so you've got to be careful when you prepping it, but it doesn't flow quite as nicely as I would have liked. But as you can see, in some places it's nice and shiny, and Harry's very pleased with it, so that's all that really matters. So now I've got to take the masking tape that I've got to take off. As you can see, I masked it up because somebody hadn't in the past, and that's the result. There's my masking tape, which I'm taking off. Somebody's had a go at this boat several times before, which you find, and there's all sorts of drips and drabs. But generally, even the steps have come out nicely. Generally, I'm pretty happy with it. It's not one of my best ever. I did explain to Harry that it hasn't flowed out quite as nicely as I'd like. I don't know whether that's due to the rub defect underneath. It could have done with one more coat, but he's already got a big bill, so you know, you have to be practical about these things. Harry seems very pleased with it, so on to the next one. So here we go. We're back on Phil's boat now, the one I was doing to begin with. He hasn't brought the tables back, and I think I'll be in grease by the time he does, but that's how the work I did came out. There are the steps. It's nice to see he's covered them up so they don't get walked on. He was very pleased with those. There's a table there that Phil did. Don't know whether you can see that. So yeah, that's the rubbed effect. And the next time you see me, I will probably be in Kefalonia. I think I've got less than a week now before I go, so keep tuned, because videos are going to get more interesting now. We'll be travelling about and working on different things. Anyway, when I was in Torquay Marina, must be 12, 15 years ago, there was a boat 3 or 4 moorings up that was very interesting. I'm about to show it you. So let's go outside and we'll see. So I don't know how well this is coming out, because it is a fairly bright day. I can't actually see the screen. That's the trouble with using the phone for this sort of thing. Probably going to invest in a... Let's get down here in the shade a little bit. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's come out, but anyway, what a beautiful looking thing. He's just been telling me about all the work he's been doing on it. It's a complete labour of love, that thing. The varnish work on that. So I'm now back over there to Sovereign Bay. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, hit like and share away. I'll catch you guys on the next one.